In the past 5 days, I've made $22,628 day trading in the stock market. And I'm just going to refresh on my phone so you can see that right there. $22,628. And in this video, I'm going to show you exactly how this works, how I do this trading for about 1 hour per day. And I'm going to show you why it's repeatable and the real reason why most people never become consistent in terms of earning extra income online, as well as day trading in the stock market. Okay, I'm going to show you the chart logic. You can see here I have my charts pulled up, and I'm going to break down what I call the risk management system that makes this sustainable long term. And just a quick note, this is for educational purposes. Trading is risky and results are not guaranteed. Even great traders have losing days. And so my goal is to teach you the framework and the risk management behind it. And the best part is that I only trade one stock, SPY. That is the S&P 500 ETF. So there's no scanning 40 different charts, no staring at screens all day, no chaos. And if we haven't met, my name is Andy Antiles, and I am the owner and founder of Greystone Trading. And I started trading when I was 17 years old, my last year of high school. And I'm now in year 8 of doing this, of day trading. And the reason why I started so early, when I was 17 years old, is because my dad is a career-long hedge fund trader and asset manager. He was my mentor. He taught me how professionals and how Wall Street thinks about the market. There's no hype, there's no gambling, there's no hoping that it goes up. This is a true system with rules and with risk control. And so over the last 7 years, I've used this approach to generate multiple six figures a year, sometimes even six figures in a single month. And I've taught this exact framework to thousands of students. But here's what matters. I'm not here to impress you with one big trade. I'm here to show you how this becomes something that you can do part-time consistently without needing to be a genius. Now, before we get into the charts, if you want to learn directly from me and my team and get coached through it, to learn exactly how you can start earning extra reliable income from trading in the stock market, there's a link in the description, and you can schedule a call with one of my senior advisors. And on that call, we'll look at where you're at, your goals, your schedule, your personality, and we'll tell you honestly if this is a fit, because this is not for everyone, right? If you want get rich quick, this is not it. But if you want a structured skill that you can build into reliable income over time, the link is below. You'll be brought to a short application that'll take you probably about 60 seconds to get through. And then you'll see a calendar booking page where you can select a date and time that works best for you. All right, let me show you the chart logic and sort of how I find winning entries when I know when to buy and sell, okay? So I have SPY, again, which is the S&P 500 ETF, pulled up here. And I'm going to walk you through the exact kind of entries that I look for and how to think about timing. Again, just for context, when I say the S&P 500 ETF, the S&P 500 is a basket of the 500 biggest companies in the United States. So think Apple, Microsoft, NVIDIA, Google, right? These are the largest companies in the United States. This is the most liquid stock in the stock market. And what I mean by that, it is the stock that is traded most, that is transacted the most number of times per day out of any stock in the stock market. So that is one of the reasons why I am so happy to share this openly, to share this strategy, to teach thousands of students this exact strategy. Because even if I had 100,000 people that were using this strategy, it would not give competition. It wouldn't, create competition in the market. Again, because this is the most traded stock in the entire stock market. So again, this strategy that I'm going to be sharing with you has made me over $22,000 in just the past 5 trading days. So you can see here the actual dates that focuses, the actual dates, which are the 9th of January through the 15th of January in 2026. And so that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 trading days. Okay. Now, how do I find winning entries? For me, it is all about determining key levels. So when I look at my chart here, you can see here it says 5M. right? That means that each and every candlestick that we're looking at, each and every bar or candlestick on this chart represents 5 minutes of time, okay? So this right here, it says 9:25. You can see there at the bottom. This tells us that from 9:25 to 9:30, the price of SPY started here at 9:25, and by 9:30, it was all the way down here. Okay, and so if I can explain this a little bit further, I'll use this example right here. This was big inflation data that we got that caused this big move to the upside. So here, this is the 8:30 candle. So starting at 8:30, the price was right here. And if you see the thin part of the candle, we call that the wick of the candle. That means that at some point after 8:20, after 8:30, right? Because this is the 8:30 candle. So at some point after 8:30, price came all the way down here to the bottom of that wick. And at some point, also after 8:30, it came all the way up here to the top of the wick. But by the end of the 5 minutes, so at exactly 8:35 and 0 seconds, the candle closed right here at 696.73. Now you can see here at the next candle created the second consecutive candle in which SPY was unable to trade above, to go above 696.73. So right here, when this happened, when we had two consecutive candles that failed to go above 696.73, I put this key level on my chart. I put this black horizontal line on my chart telling me that this is a key level. Okay, we also call this resistance. This is a key level of resistance where SPY, the stock that I trade 100% of the time, is unable to trade above. Okay, so as price continues to go and work itself out through the pre-market, when I say pre-market, I mean before the market has actually opened, before we can actually start trading, which is at 9:30 a.m. Eastern time, I have noted my key level of resistance. Okay, I've also noticed an inability for SPY to trade below 695.31. And I actually put this black horizontal line noting this key level on my chart when I saw this perfect confirmation of that level. Okay, this is the opening candle. So the market opens at 9:30 a.m. Eastern time, and the lowest point of this candle. So at some point in between 9:30 and 9:35, the lowest point was right here, which coincides with these two wicks from 8:50 and 8:55. So I now have three confirmations that this is a key level, that SPY is unable to trade below 695.31. So we call this support. Okay. And so I have a key level of resistance here, and I have a key level of support down here. Now, once we get this confirmation, the way that I trade is I am now watching to see if we get a 5-minute candle close above resistance, where I would then make the bet that SPY would continue to trade higher. Okay, I would buy a call, an option call, making the bet that SPY would trade higher. Or if we get a firm 5-minute candle close below my level of support at 695.31, I'm going to buy a put and make the bet that SPY is going to continue to trade lower. Okay, and that's exactly what we get right here at this 9:40 candle. So exactly at 9:45, we get a 5-minute candle close below 695.31. Why is this significant? Why does this tell us that SPY is going to continue to trade lower? Well, because each of the last 3 times that we've tested this precise price level of 695.31, we have failed to get a 5-minute candle close below. But this candle right here, right, the 9:40 candle, at 9:40, we were right here. At some point after 9:40, we came all the way up here to the top of this wick. But by the end of the 5 minutes, for the first time, right, we got this big move up. We then traded in this range right here. And then for the first time, we get a close below 695.31. I interpret this as getting confirmation that SPY is telling us it is indeed ready to continue trading lower. So I bought a put right here, and ultimately I was able to make $13,000. $13,000 as this continued to go down and down and down and down and down. And I'm going to walk through the risk management system, how I go sort of about selling for profit. But this is how I find winning entries. I determine key levels, and I wait for a 5-minute candle, right? The 5-minute candle where each of these candles represents 5 minutes in time. That is our truth telling candle, right? You can see here on the right-hand side, I have the 1 minute. Okay, I watch the 1 minute once I'm already in a trade to just watch the same narrative being told from a slightly different perspective. Okay, but any conviction that I have to take an entry is based off of the 5-minute chart, and more specifically, as I just said, a 5-minute candle close above or below a key level. The 5-minute candle close gives us confirmation that SPY is either ready to continue trading higher, or in this case, trading lower. Okay. Now, what I just showed you is the what, right? But the reason that this is consistent long term is the how I manage risk, okay? The risk management part of the system. And this is the part that ultimately makes or breaks people. Okay? If you want to be consistently profitable, your entries matter. When you hit the buy button, exactly what I just went over matters. But your risk management matters more because anyone can have a hot week or even a hot month, but consistency comes from what happens when you're wrong. Okay. So here's exactly what I do, and I'm going to keep this very simple. Let's say that I have a $10,000 account. I have $10,000 sitting in my brokerage trading account. Okay. I'm never going all in. I'm not risking even half of my account on one trade. Or I shouldn't say even. I'm not risking half of my account on one trade, right? I enter each trade with about 30% of my account. So in this example, with $10,000, I would enter the position with $3,000. And the moment that I enter, I already know my maximum loss, okay? I use a 10% stop loss on that position. So if I entered with $3,000, my worst case scenario is $300. And this is automated. It's put into the system so that there's no emotion, there's no emotional involvement associated with making the decision to sell, right? It's into the system. My worst case scenario is $300, which is roughly 3% of my total account. This one rule alone is why I'm still here 8 years later. Okay, if you just follow this one rule, you will literally beat 90% of people who play this game of day trading. Okay, because it's literally impossible to blow your account, to see your account go to zero if you follow this one rule. Okay, because with a $10,000 account, and you enter every trade with $3,000 with 30% of your overall account and a 10% stop loss, so you're risking 3% of your total account, you would need to lose 33 trades in a row for your account to go to zero. And that's mathematically impossible. Okay, you're more likely to get struck by lightning, 3 times in one day, okay, than losing 33 trades in a row. Okay. Now, let's talk about how I take profit. So when the trade moves in my direction, I don't sit there and just pray for a miracle, okay? I pay myself in layers. So on the first half of the position, I take profit at 10%, okay? Then on the next quarter, I take profit around 13 to 15%. And the last quarter is ultimately where the math changes, okay? The last quarter of my position, I don't manually sell it. What I do is called trailing my stop loss. Okay. So I don't manually sell. I just move my stop loss higher and higher and higher until ultimately it is hit. So if the move keeps on going like it did right here, I'm just trailing my stop loss higher and higher and higher, right? I mentioned here that I bought a put, meaning the asset that I purchased here, making the bet that SPY would go lower, that asset goes higher as the bet that I made is proven true. So I'm moving my stop loss higher and higher and higher. And if the move keeps going, which it did in this case, that last corridor can become 40, 50, 60, even 80% profit. And yes, there have been times where the last quarter of my position has gone to 200% profit, 300% profit, even 400% profit. And this is what flips the math on its head, because even if you're not right all the time, you don't need to be. Okay. Most people think consistency comes from being correct, and that's not true. Consistency comes from small losses and asymmetric wins. And right now, I've had an incredible win rate the past few months, sitting at 71%, which is absolutely amazing. But I don't need to be anywhere near that to be profitable, okay? Because my downside is capped and the upside is allowed to expand. And I want to be clear, losing trades still happen, okay? This does not eliminate risk, but it keeps you from doing what destroys most traders: one emotional day that wipes out weeks of progress. So now you've seen the chart logic and you've seen the risk management. Now let me show you what this actually looks like when you apply it as a routine. So everything that I've shown you today is what I do on a daily basis. It's just me, a laptop, and a system. And what makes this different from almost every other way to make money online is simple. Okay. This is infinitely scalable. If you look at Amazon FBA, dropshipping, affiliate marketing, starting some sort of marketing business for local businesses. Okay. If you start any of those side hustles to make more money, you usually need more moving parts in order to scale your income, right? More employees, more inventory, more ad spend, more overhead, ultimately more headaches. And in those models, more income usually means more complexity. But with trading, if you have a real system and real risk management, earning more is just a natural byproduct of your account growing. Okay. The other, massive difference between trading and any of these other business models is that in order to be successful in any business, you need to become a master at so many different skills: marketing, sales, building websites, driving traffic to websites, finances, customer support, right? You need to learn all of these different skills in order to be successful. With trading, it's just one skill. And you don't need to become a completely different person every time that you want to make more. You don't need to build a company. You just build one skill. And yes, you refine over time, but the core stays simple. I have students using this part time while working their full time jobs who are making an extra $3,000 a month, $10,000 a month, $15,000 a month. And that's not about flexing, that's about breathing room. It's the difference between stressing every time that you swipe your credit card and just living like a normal person again. It's more vacations, more freedom, not second guessing every single expense, being able to take care of your family without feeling squeezed. And yes, we also have had some super advanced students doing numbers that sound crazy, like over $200,000 a month in profit. That is not typical, and I am not promising that, but it proves something important. They didn't need to discover a new strategy. They didn't need to reinvent the wheel. They just applied the same rules as I taught you today with a larger account. So if you want to learn this directly from me, the next step is simple. You can click the link in the description, fill out the very short application, and schedule a call with one of my senior advisors. We'll walk you through how this works, what the coaching actually looks like, and whether it fits your lifestyle and ultimately your goals. If it's not a fit, we'll tell you, no pressure whatsoever. But if you've been looking for a skill that's calm, structured, and can be done part-time in addition to your full-time job, this is exactly what we do. All right, I'm going to wrap this up. If you enjoyed the video, subscribe, and I'll keep posting the real stuff, the chart logic, the trades, the risk management, and what actually works. The link is in the description if you want help, and I will see you very, very soon. Take care.